Yo, what's up? God bless everybody. How you doing tonight? This is your host, Jose Mejia, alongside my brother Cornelius.
What's going on?
And alongside us, our first guest, Jose Molina. How you doing, man?
I'm blessed, man.
You blessed?
Blessed.
Amen, amen. Jose Molina, you leader of, what is it? New Generation in Jesus Christ?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, church. Where is it located at, man?
It's in Marietta. It's off Austell Road and Patmount.
Alright.
Yeah.
It's Cobb County. Like I said,
Cobb
we...
County, yeah.
Yeah, man. So how you doing today, Corn?
I'm good, man. How
Everything
about
good?
yourself,
Everything
man?
good?
Everything's good, man. Can't complain. What about yourself?
Rough week, man. Rough week.
Why was it rough?
I would say rough week, physically, mentally, and spiritual, man.
Go through all three of them.
Well, physically, you know my problem with my foot, like I told you,
Yep. Didn't you have an operation already?
I didn't work. They burned it, didn't work.
Didn't work, man.
They burned it. They
Oh,
didn't
burned
freeze
it.
it. They burned it.
They burned it.
Okay.
Yeah, with laser. It wasn't
So
laser,
why it
man.
didn't work?
I don't know. They didn't do it right, I guess.
Yeah, the tough wart. That's what.
Yeah, it is, man. It's a stubborn word.
All right. What up? So physically,
This today at work, I almost broke my nose.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was walking up the stairs, and like it's a new building, so it has these wires like to hold the metal beams.
Okay.
So the building doesn't like it stays square. I guess I don't know, stay in place. So there's this one like right like where the staircase ends. So I was looking down, and when I look up, the metal thing was on my face. So it's when I just bumped into it, man. It almost
Like
broke my
hard was
nose.
like a little tap.
No, it was hard, man.
hard.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it, man. I have still red over here. Like, can you see? Can you see?
I think it's from your glasses. That's what I see. I see
No,
like a
but-
little. I see like a little.
Well, right here it hurts. I thought it broke my nose, man. I don't know if you can see it,
Nah,
people.
man.
I don't know. It's too far the camera. I ain't gonna go over there, man. I might go over there. And,
No. It ain't that deep because you really don't see it.
Yeah, I can't even tell.
Yeah,
bro.
but it still hurts, man. It still hurts. I really thought it broke my nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, mentally, I would say like, mentally goes with spiritual, you know, like I started like a lot of, I would say bad memories that come into my mind again. Like I have a battle, you know, a battle until yesterday. Remember yesterday, you prayed for me?
Yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, yesterday I really appreciate the prayer. I really appreciate what Pastor did. He helped me a lot. So, yeah, I feel like when I start remembering those things, you know, I feel like I give the enemy, you know, a chance to attack me, or
Right.
something like that. So yeah, man, it was rough. It was rough this week. Well, how about you, man?
So me, I think with me, I had got a word last Sunday that victory was coming into my life,
Okay.
right? So to be honest with you, I've been just moving by faith, and I feel like my faith has actually been growing even more, you know, because I've been seeing, you know, I've been seeing attacks, but the thing about it is it doesn't affect none of my faith. And the thing about it is, well, too, is that I know at the end of this rain, I know the sun is going to shine.
Amen.
You know, so right now, there's some things I have in the works that God's been placing me around certain people. And to be honest with you, I haven't put anything into their hands. I put everything into God's hands. And now what I'm doing is just waiting on God's will. I'm just going to be patient about it and just say, you know what, God, if it's your will, it's your will. Because I had to make a decision a couple weeks ago from what you know.
Yeah.
As far as a job, you know, that this job has been causing separation with me in my marriage because of the time that I've been putting into this job.
Right.
And the thing about it is that this job has me working from 9 o'clock at night all the way until 6 in the morning. So my wife is at home trying to rest at that time, but she's getting attacked while she's there. So then I had to say, you know what, I'm gonna get this job up.
Right.
'Cause I have two of them. Reluctantly, with God blessed me, where He gave me 2 jobs, but I had to get this one up. I wanted this one, and it goes back to the preaching it was a few Sundays ago. Pastor had gave when Pastor had his birthday.
Okay.
Was that Pastor had a vision, right? And his vision was starting to come into fruition, right? To where basically he was in the world where he was, you know, a musician.
Right.
And his passion is to be in the music. But the thing about it, it wasn't about as far as in God, you know, it was more for the flesh. So it was more secular,
Worldly, yeah.
right? More worldly. thing about it, he was gaining worldly success from it, as far as the money, clothes, fame, fortune, and all that stuff. But the thing about it was that his house was suffering, right? Okay. So now the thing about it, what she said during that preaching was that, are you willing to put your vision to the side and let God work in your favor as far as the vision He has for you and that purpose? So are we willing to do that? And the thing about it is that with this job, I had a vision with this job, because I was like, you know what? I get to fly. It's at Delta, and I get to fly for free. And I had a vision as far as my business, because I took this job because I wanted to fly to get in contact with people as far as like distributors and manufacturers that I can get to. That's like in China, Indonesia, you know, Italy or something like that, to where I could talk to them to manufacture clothing. And I could do it on their expenses as opposed to mine. So that was my vision as far as for the job. But the thing about it is that when she said that, it seemed like it just hit me. And then with my wife and the way things are going on at home as far as her attacks and her battles that she's been going through, because she's been having a vision, and I, like I said, I'm just being transparent with you guys as we're all brothers of Christ, is that she's been having visions of actually someone breaking into our home and doing something to her. And that's the attack. She's been having 3 dreams, and it's all been where it's been a continuation of each dream to where the person gets closer and closer to every single dream. To where we see people drive by home and they slow up. And she get out the car, and this is actual real life. They slow up when they see her get out the car because she coming from work or she coming from break. You know, she come home for lunch. She'll see a person come down our drive or come down our road, and when he sees her, he slows up.
Really?
Slows up, yeah. So
same guy, same
the
car?
same guy, same car every time.
Okay.
And she's been having this dream. Now the dream doesn't show the man. Well, it shows the man, but it didn't show the same guy that she was talking about. Right. But there's a man that's coming to attack her. So the thing about it is that I had to make a decision, and she wanted me to ask God, you know, about this or whatever, and I got confirmation, and I said, God, you know what? I know you're going to provide. I know you have a bigger plan than what this job can provide. You know, if I know you want me to be at a job where I'm at peace at home, and my household is together. You know, so. With this job, I understand that I can quit this job and you can bless me with a way greater job to where I'm all at peace at home. And that's the decision I took. So Tuesday is going to be my last day. So Tuesday is my last day at this job or whatever. And then, you know, like I told y'all guys, I've just been putting it in God's hands, and I've just been patient about it. So that's what I've been going through as far as this week. So I put in a 2 weeks notice 2 weeks ago. They understood. And like I said, I think anything with God is always going to be understood. There's nothing they're going to be saying, why you do this, why you do that. No, you know, and they actually been trying to help me. Like I said, as far as when I did this, that's when things started moving. People started actually getting up and starting wanting to do things for me.
Oh, really?
And wanting to put me like, yeah, you know what? Send me your resume, and I know you got this background. I want to put you in that.
Wow.
You know, to where that's where I started seeing, like I said, once I did that for God, it's almost like the story about Abraham. When God told him to take his son up to the mountain and sacrifice your son, and then an angel came down and told him to stop right when he was about to sacrifice him. It felt like that. It's like, you know, as far as when I put in that resume, it felt like, I mean, when I put in that resignation letter, they were just like, you know what? As soon as I came to them and actually did it, because they didn't think I was going to do it, but when I actually submitted it over to them and went to the manager, and then we trickled all the way down to the supervisor and all that stuff, everything started clicking. Everything just started going. Everything just started like, people just started like, hey, you know what? I want to help you out. Hey, I want to do this. I'm going to put you in contact with this person to where we can get you on that side. And I was just like, all right, I'm going to do that. God, if it's your will, I'm going to do it. And bam, there you go. So
he's already moving, brother.
It's moving. It's moving. So like I said, I've just been patient now.
And what he said, I know they're going through a hard time because my wife and his wife, they're sisters.
Yep.
So they're being nice where they be like talking the whole night, because my wife didn't like want to let his and her sister, you know, like alone. Wow. So they be on their phone like the whole night, man.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and if somebody, if my wife would hear like a little noise, she would try to wake her up. You know, it was hard, man. It was hard
Yeah.
It was hard to watch that, you know.
Yeah, I feel you, bro.
Yeah, and like I said, I know what he's going through. But hey, man, amen.
Amen, man. Yeah, man.
You're gonna get blessed, man. You're gonna get blessed big time, man.
Yeah, bro.
But man, episode 6.
Episode 6, man.
Episode 6. We got our brother Jose here. Jose, man, go ahead and well, we got 2 Jose's here today.
2 Jose's.
So it's 2 Jose's here today.
2 Jose's.
My host Jose here. Bring the show in today, man.
So episode 6, man. Another glorious episode.
Another glorious episode.
Glorious episode, man. Yeah, I mean, well, we did like another milestone. Our first guest, man.
Our first guest, yep. And it actually came sooner than we expected.
Yeah.
We actually were expecting it episode 7.
Yeah.
But it actually came episode 6.
Episode 6.
You know, so honestly, man, like I said, God always works, man.
Yeah,
He always works. We thought it was gonna be next week, but we actually had church anniversary, so we got it actually this week. So you know, next week we won't be shooting, right, Jose?
Yeah, no. Next week we're gonna have no episodes, and we're gonna come back the week after. That's gonna be on the 7th. It's gonna be on Wednesday. Actually, you wanna be off that week? You wanna?
Well,
We're probably gonna come. Before the
definitely. So yeah, we can definitely do something.
We're still working on the schedule.
We can do some things anytime now.
Yeah, we're still working on the schedule because this past days has been like kind of rough for everybody, man.
Yeah.
I was there for the whole church because everybody's going through a battle, or everybody went through a battle.
Yeah.
Amen,
but we're coming victorious, man. We're coming victorious.
Amen.
Yeah, amen. So we said before episode 10 we're gonna have our first guest, and here we are, man.
We are.
Here we
episode
are.
6.
Yeah, and I forgot to show out my
Go ahead,
my
man.
homeboy Andres, man. Andres is working on the camera. Say hi, Andres.
Hi.
He's on Instagram Live today, so
yeah.
Today you can actually see his face. So if you're on Instagram Live, you got to see his face at the beginning of the show.
You'll finally want to see
Andres.
Yeah,
we got you today.
Yeah, we've been saying episode you never seen Andres. You only hear hi.
Wait.
Hey, man.
So yeah, man, welcome to the episode 7 of the
episode 6.
6.
Come on, Jose, get it together, man. I can't bring the show in like that.
Oh, come on. Hey, man, we be talking about 7. Man.
That's right.
Yeah, man. We should get another guest on 7.
Bring another guest.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put it in your.
Yeah. Well, actually, let's say true. We're supposed to have another guest before Brother Jose.
Okay.
But things didn't work out, right?
Right.
So things didn't work out.
Things didn't work out. We did have somebody else.
Yeah.
But they confirmed with us and then they backed out.
Yeah.
And which I think it was for a purpose.
Yep.
You know, this guy wasn't necessarily he tried to come to our church, and I think he was seeking more of like some worldly things that he wanted to seek.
Gotcha.
And to be honest, the guy didn't believe in God. He didn't believe in the Holy Spirit. He believed in Jesus, but he didn't know who the Creator was.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the guy didn't know. He all he did was start off in the New Testament.
Oh.
He never read the Old. So he didn't know about God, so he thought that, people just be baptized just in Jesus' name instead of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Right.
And, so he confirmed at first, yeah, we can do it. And then I guess he had second thoughts.
Right.
And the guy was just like, let's get out of it, I'm not doing it, or whatever. So, we actually went to our pastor about it, and actually pastor kind of put us in the direction, as far as, that was small.
Right.
That was small, not to belittle him, but he was saying as far as for the show, it's small.
Right.
It was just like, you want something big and something that's going to attract a lot of people.
Right.
And a person that can tell a testimony, and it be heard.
Right.
And he was just saying that he thought you were the one that would be perfect for it.
Amen.
So, yeah, man. So that was coming from my pastor.
Oh, man.
So
blessing,
definitely, man.
bro.
So we here, episode 6.
He has an idea, though. He has an idea, and we gotta work on his idea.
Let's get it, man. Hey, let's go. I'm with all the ideas,
All right.
man.
All right.
So, episode 6.
Episode 6. Welcome to episode 6 of the
Glorious
Podcast, man.
Amen.
I'm your host, Jose Mejia, alongside my brother Cornelius, alongside our first guest, Jose Molina.
Amen.
Yeah, so we didn't ask you, man, how you been? How's been your week going so far?
Hey, bros, I think I can relate to y'all, man. It's been rough, bro. It's been rough, but it's been God, man, that He's been sustaining us, on the rock, because we've had a lot of battles.
Yeah.
We had a lot of battles, brother.
It took so long to come up.
We've had a lot of battles, man. You know, me myself, even my work, bro. You know, I'm a self-contractor and painting, and work has been really slow for us right now. You know, and money's tight. You know, I'm the only one that works in my house, so you know, so it's just like, you know, in construction, you go through those type of seasons where the work gets slow. You know, but I think this one has been like the longest I've been through so far. Like, with been really slow. You know what I'm saying? But man, just trying to stay focused, bro. Keep seeking, man. Trying to, you know, not go from what I see, you know, but from what I believe in. I know the Lord has always, and even today, bro, I always see how God always just provides for us, man. Always makes a way for us. And he's just so faithful, bro. You know what I'm saying? So that's what keeps us going. You know what I'm saying? Just seeing that faithfulness, bro. It's like, man, he's really a true God, man. That loves us, man, and takes care of us. So,
yeah, I mean, I like I said, I do construction too, and I understand. I've been going through that sometimes. Probably last year I went through that. I remember like a few weeks.
Right.
Like I didn't have work. I was at home, you know, and it gets hard, man. It gets hard, but you know, always have faith. And actually, when that happened, I kind of, you know, start feeling like losing faith, you know.
Yeah, you get discouraged, bro.
Yeah. Until you came to me, remember? You came to me and talked to me. You in Hudson, I believe.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, man. But like the other day, actually, here's a little thing that happened to me like 2 weeks ago, I believe. That I missed a day of work. I missed a day, and I was like, oh, my chest gonna come short, you know. But this week I missed 2, so it's gonna be shorter. But the other time, when I got my check on Friday, we got the check, and I was like, you know, I like looked at it and I was surprised, you know. And the guy was like, "What's wrong?" My foreman, the cool guy, said, "What's wrong?" He said, "Sure." He's like, "It's no, where you work or where is it?" No, it's like you put more money than I was supposed to.
It's more what you expected.
Yeah. He said, "Why? I missed a day." So, oh, don't worry about it. I was like, "Oh wow, man, wow." I hope he does that. Just man. No, man, it was amazing, man. What he did was a really good gesture, you know. Really appreciate it. But yeah, man, being there, done that, man.
Yeah, man. So,
man.
So what I want to do is,
I'm
thinking about starting off at the beginning.
Okay.
Jose, man. So, kind of tell us about like your upbringing, like as far as your household. Did you have a father and a mother, you know, in the household? You know, where were you born? You know, start off at the beginning of Jose, and then we, you know, kind of gradually go up from there.
All right. Well, I was born in Texas. I was born in Harlingen, Texas.
Harlingen, Texas. Okay.
They call it El Valle in Spanish.
The Valley.
The Valley. Yeah, the Valley. And I did have my mother. I thank God I still have my mother and father. But my father was never really in the picture. You know, he was always around, but not there. So it was kind of just me and my mom growing up, you know. And so we lived there for like until I was about, I want to say about 6 years old. And then we moved down here to Atlanta. And it was crazy, bro, how when we first got here, bro, because, you know, my mom she lived in Texas since she got from Mexico, right? And all her family was over here in Atlanta. And so she was always wanting to come to Atlanta to see all her brothers and her sisters. And my dad, he used to sell a lot of drugs, right? And he used to make trips to places. And he got this trip here to Atlanta, right? To make a delivery. Right?
So let me just hold on one sec. So your dad was never like, was he ever in the household? Like, was he ever living in the house with you guys?
He was, but like he would disappear on us for a while.
Okay.
And then he'll appear up, you know, and then he'll come, and then he'll leave again, and then he'll come again. Like he was around, but really never there. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah. So, and when we got here, so basically he was gonna make a delivery here. So he told my mom that, hey, we're gonna go to Atlanta to go see your family, right? My mom didn't know at the time what he was doing. So on the way over here, as soon as they get here in Atlanta, the DEA were basically following him the whole trip over here. As soon as they hit here, Georgia, they got surrounded, right? and they took both my parents. They took me. I was in a foster home for about a year,
Oh, wow.
and while they were in jail, they were in the process of. My uncle was gonna adopt me while my mom was in jail, and so that's kind of where it got rough for my parents, Well, my mom, because she didn't know what was going on. She didn't speak much English, so it was a hard time during that time. So
what age was this?
I was about 6, bro. Yeah, that's by the time
old.
we came over here.
So 6 years old, you was in a foster home, and
Yeah.
your mother and your father were in jail.
In jail, yeah.
And they were in jail for.
My mom did about a year, and my dad, he did, I want to say about 3 or 4 years.
What was the charge?
They had 28 ounces of marijuana.
And she didn't know though.
She didn't know.
Wow.
She didn't know at the time what he was doing, basically. Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, basically, during that time, for that, like a year straight, they started doing all the paperwork. My uncle was trying to adopt me at the time, but they asked for a lot of stuff, so it took a long process at the end, for him to adopt me. But at the end, it took so long, by the time my mom got out, it never happened, right? So I basically came back to my mom.
Right.
Thank God. So that's the reason why we came down here first, and but ever since then, I've been here in Atlanta. I was raised here, grew up here, and my mom, she started the family on her own while my dad was in jail. When he got out, he came back into the picture, and then he left again for a couple years, and it was kind of like that throughout my whole childhood. He was in and out of jail, he was never around. When I was about 10 to 12 years old, bro, my mom got remarried, and that's where she got remarried, and she got married with my stepdad, to this day, she's still married, man. She's happy, man. I just thank God for
Your
that.
stepdad.
Yeah, my stepdad. And he's been a big blessing for me as well, man. First, we didn't start off at a good relationship, but even God restored that relationship with my stepdad, even with my own mother, because as a youngster, I was always the rebellious one,
Mm-hmm.
always trying to be out with my friends and hang around with the wrong people, so, and she never liked that, and she was always so hurt, what my dad put her through, through drugs and weed and stuff, and she's seen that in me growing up really destroyed her, really hurt her hard, so, but I was just always the rebellious one, so, I just thank God that even God restored my relationship with my mom, with my stepdad, brother, with everybody, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I grew up with my stepdad too, man.
Yeah.
Well, actually, like I was telling you, I came back to the state when I was 14. That's when I met him.
Right.
Because my dad died long before I was born, so.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, man, and the relationship didn't start good,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I respect him and everything, but I didn't how can I say, respect him as a dad, You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that came with time.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a big blessing for me too, man.
Yeah.
Because like I was telling you, when you're a teenager, that's when you really need that male figure in your life.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that's where you really, go through a hard time.
Yeah.
In school, with friends and everything, you really need that. That's what I think, every teenager needs a male figure in their life.
We talked about that.
Yeah, it's very important, man, because I remember growing up, my mom, she worked in the check cashing business, and she worked all day, bro. Like, she went in at 10 in the morning and get out at like 2, 3 in the morning, you know what I'm saying? So she was never around because she had to work,
Yeah.
And so it was really, we had a babysitter, and so, really never had my mother or my father,
Right.
and so, or my stepdad, because my stepdad, when he came in the picture, he was always working out of state, so I was kind of always just with my babysitter, and so that kind of led me more to be out with my friends and acting a fool, basically.
How many brothers and sisters you have?
Here I have 3 brothers.
Mm-hmm.
3 brothers. In Texas, I got 2 brothers.
Older than you? Younger than you?
4 of them are younger, and one's a year older than me.
All right.
No sisters?
No sister. Oh, actually, no. Now I have a sister from my dad's side. Like, he got remarried too, and she's about 8 years old now. I believe so. Yeah.
So how old are you, man? Let me ask you that.
I'm 24, bro.
You're 24?
Yeah.
You're young, man.
Yeah.
You're young, sir.
Yep.
I'm 26. Going to 27 next month.
Yeah, I'm about to be 25, man.
Next month?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
You know my giver, right? I already told you what my giver.
No, you told me.
Your white nose, man. Your white nose.
Okay. All right. So, kind of go back now. Again, I know you brought us up to as far as, you know, when your stepdad came into your life, but as far as you as a kid, I know you said something about you being rebellious, though.
Right.
So kind of say, like, as far as you starting off at like 6, going up until like maybe like middle school or high school,
Right.
how would you like weigh yourself as a kid? Like, how were you? Were you like outgoing? Were you more of like a social life? Were you, I know you said rebellious, but like, you know, how were you like in school?
I guess in school I was always very social, you know. Everybody knew me, you know. You knew how I was. I would talk to anybody, so I was very socialized.
Yeah.
You can say. And I mean, and in school, I mean, I was never really the A student, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Didn't really never like school, bro. I dropped out when I was about 16. You know, never finished high school. And yeah, really, I mean, it's just, and that kind of led to, you know, just hanging around with the wrong people, and that's really why I really never finished school, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, which school you went to? You live here in Marietta, right?
Yeah, I went a couple. I went my first school. Well, my first high school was McEachern.
Oh, McEachern, okay.
And then from there, I
was
went.
A rival, man. Was a rival, man.
And from McEachern, I went to South Cobb, and then from South Cobb, I went to Osborne.
Osborne,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
My brother here goes to Osborne.
Yeah, Andres goes to Osborne, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to Marietta.
Oh, you went to Marietta?
Yeah, that's a rival McEachern right there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because both of them are the M. So,
oh, okay.
So yeah, so who's the real M, you know?
And don't they got the same colors too? And everything?
No, I think McEachern is gold.
Well, I know they got a blue and gold, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because...
And Marietta's blue, no?
He's blue. I just don't like the nickname for the
Blue Devils, I think.
Yeah, Blue Devils.
Yeah.
Do something else, man. Change to Blue Angels at least, man. Something like that. Yeah, then they had the mascot. It's a little devil. Right? Crazy. Yeah.
You went to school here, bro?
No, I went to school in Alabama.
Oh, in
Originally
Alabama?
where I'm from, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I went to 2 high schools. So 9th and 10th grade, I went to a school where it's actually tore down now. It was called Leachfield.
Okay.
Leachfield High School, went there 9th and 10th grade. Then went to Anniston High School, left in 12th grade.
Okay.
So Leachfield, they were the Eagles, and Anniston Bulldogs.
Oh, okay.
So Leachfield was white, blue, and gold. Anniston was like a white, black, and crimson. Like a crimson red. Yeah.
Okay.
I would prefer they name it the Blue Eagles at least, man. Or the Blue Bulldogs, man. That'd be better than Blue Devils, man.
So let me ask you this. So you said that you dropped out at 16.
Right.
And you said you got around like the wrong crowd.
Right.
When you said like the wrong crowd, what kind of crowd are we talking about?
Well, it was just, you know, my homies back then, just, you know, living the high life, you could say, you know, the fast life, the gang life. You know, that's really the people I would surround myself with, you know.
Were you a part of a gang?
I was part of a gang.
You know what gang? What kind of gang was it?
When I'm my freshman and sophomore year, I used to hang around with a lot of Bloods at the time, and but about when I was in my sophomore year was when I dropped out, and I kind of dropped out the gang, that whole gang Blood thing, and I started hanging around with another crew, which they didn't bang at the time, but the people they hang with were Southside, so I started just hanging around them, but I never got initiated, you could say.
Gotcha.
But they saw me, a lot of people saw me as a Southsider, but I was never initiated. It's just because I was a Blood before, you know, so you know, I didn't want to do that whole
Affiliate.
hood hopping
So
thing.
I got you, just association by affiliation.
Yeah, so I was just that's the people I would hang around with at the end before I came to Christ were Southside. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the thing back in the school, back in the days, was that there was like a lawyer gang.
Mm-hmm.
There gang banging. I don't know if there still is. I don't know.
Right.
But back when I was in high school, I was like probably from 2006 to 2011. There were like little groups, man. Like when you like got off of school, like to go to the bars and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Like outside, they were like right here. They would be in this corner be like the Southsiders. On this corner would be like the Latin Kings and all that, man. It was just crazy.
Right.
Hmm. Wow.
And the thing is that the kids I went to, I would say 8th grade, because it wasn't even middle school, it was 8th grade, I don't remember what it was. We went to the same, it was only Hispanics in one classroom for the whole day. So we were always like friends, I would say we were friends in 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
When we went to high school, some of them went to the Latin Kings, some of them went to the South Side, and it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago we were friends and hanging out, and now you like enemies or something.
Wow.
Yeah, man, but I don't know, man. I never, well, me, I never got that, never find any interest in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never like felt it, like, you know, like want to be part of one.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, how about you, man?
Nah, I never. Like I said, I was more, like I said, by my, you know, I was on.
You were a geek, a nerd.
I wasn't necessarily a geek or a nerd. I was just
You get bullied.
a person of my own. I just always thought, like, you know, if it didn't make sense to me, I never would do it.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
that was just me and my outlook on everything. So, nah, I was never like. And the thing about it too, it really wasn't gangs back when I was in high school. It really wasn't like no gang. You had your own little cliques here and there, you know, little popular crew, geek crew, or whatever like that. But it really wasn't like no Bloods and Crips, you know, Vice Lord. Nothing, it wasn't nothing, Power Root, no, it wasn't none of that. You know, where I'm from. So.
Yeah, I know he was like.
Not in school, I would say, as opposed to like, yeah, you had like a lot of them like claim neighborhoods. So like it was apartments, you know what I'm saying, complexes that, you know what I'm saying, certain complexes couldn't go to another complex and try to play ball or go talk to a female over there. Nah, that wasn't going on.
Right.
You know, and that still goes on now. You know, especially in Alabama, like I said, it's apartments, you know, as opposed to like, yeah, you got your Bloods and your Crips or whatever, but it's mostly, you know, because you see Blood and Crip hanging together.
Right.
But, you know, if it's that side of town or, you know what I'm saying, or that apartment complex, it's another one coming, and it's not about to happen. Something is about to go down.
Right.
You know, so that was pretty much what it was back when I was in school, even till now, though.
Yeah, man. I wasn't never an A student either.
Yeah.
Yeah, my grades were from D, E, and F, man.
Oh, man.
E's back there too.
Oh, man.
I probably was lucky if I got a C, man.
So you got E's?
Yeah, right. Yeah, E's back there. Right?
Well, because D, E, and F, no.
Andres. No, I'm saying like on your phone, like.
Are you on a picture?
Yeah, like just snap them while you know, while things going on. I ain't saying you got don't make it so obvious now. I'm saying like as we as we talking, just, you know, snap a few in here and there. Fuego.
That's our cameraman right there. That's our cameraman.
All right.
Yeah, but yeah, man.
So you said you got E's. All
Yeah,
right.
because I mean you got A, B, C, D, E, and F. So before F you had to have an E, man. No.
No.
No. So then goes from D to F.
Yeah.
What about E though?
No E.
No.
E is for excellence.
No, I think so, bro. Because sometimes you will get an E. You know, like in middle school and stuff, the teacher will put. I see E's on people's papers, bro.
Excellence, yeah.
Excellent,
It's
That's
more like she
what
said
you're
excellent
saying.
job. Yeah, you did an
Oh,
excellent
I got
job.
it.
But it's not necessarily a grade. So that was just her expressing her feelings.
No, I would be lucky if I got a C, man.
Wow. So you'll be shocked if you like, oh, okay, I got a C.
Mine was never my thing.
Yeah.
Mine was never my thing.
I got
Hey man, I have this brother from the church, man. He always makes this joke with the younger people in our youth group. He be like, hey man, when you go do your test, just put C, man. C for Christ. C for Cristo. I'm like,
That's funny.
Holy Spirit's gonna make that happen, man.
That's funny.
Man.
Let me so trying to catch up. So I just want to get the full story. So you said you got affiliated with a gang, and everybody that you was associated with was kind of like a part of that. Right. You know, what was it that made you like, you know what, I wanna be a part of this? What was that? What was that turning point in your mind where you was just like, yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get initiated in?
Well, I think it was kind of how you had said. It was kind of like a neighborhood thing, Okay. My whole neighborhood were Bloods, and I grew up with them, So it's like I kind of was like, well, if I'm in the neighborhood and they're Bloods, so why not? Kind of just went along with it, basically. Didn't really have like, oh, this is why I want to be a Blood. Kind of just like, all right, I'm just gonna go with it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And now, as far as like, we see the tattoos on you now. Is that like a part of it as well too, or was that more of like beforehand? Like, when did the tattoos come a part of it?
My tattoo, some of them were when I was affiliated with the gang, but most of them came while I was just, basically because I was affiliated, just associated with the Southsiders. So, but they're not. Most of them are not gang related.
Gotcha. Yeah. So like, let me ask you this. So then, as far as like the tattoos you have now, what would be like one or two that you would regret, or if it's any that you would say, you know what, I wish I would have never did this one. Like this one was an adolescent.
No.
Like it was just like, man, I was just young and dumb at the time. Like a lot of people say that. Like I was just young and dumb at the time when I got it. So
wait, hold on. I gotta ask.
Go ahead.
Do you have a only God can judge me?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay. Because every guy that went to that phase, that cholo phase, has that tattoo.
Okay.
It was a popular one back then.
Yeah, so I gotta ask, man.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm out of that one.
Like, I would say if a guy who went to a cholo phase, don't say he wasn't a cholo at all.
He wasn't. Gotcha. Okay.
I hear you, bro.
Just kidding, man. But yeah, that was a part of that too, but man.
What was your question again about?
So I was saying, like, is there any tattoo that you have on you now where you kind of just regretted getting it on you, you know what I'm saying, inked on you?
Well, the ones that have affected me a lot are probably like my hands. And
what does it say on your hand?
My hands, it says basically hard to live and easy to die. And that was a time where, I had a lot of close ones. I had friends that had passed away. And, and I was just going through a tough phase, in my life. So I felt like, I seeing how people were just passing away and basically seeing, it's so easy to die, but it's so hard to live, to make ends meet, just to get through in life, So I think my hands were probably one of the ones that I kind of regret because of my tattoos on my hands and on my neck, they have turned me down on jobs, and some people kind of look at me like, you know what I'm saying?
They still think you're part of that life.
Yeah, basically, bro, yeah. And,
yeah, sorry, man. Sorry to interrupt, but
no,
a lot of people see, like, if you got tattoo, they see like a criminal, like it's a criminal or something.
Yeah.
I don't know why, man.
I mean, I think kind of like what he was saying is that, when it's more of like society, to be honest with you.
I was
and when you, because the thing about it, the tattoos come from where? Now, as far as I guess, because I don't have a tattoo, so I really don't know too much about it. But from what I thought tattoos came from was like in jail. Right. So.
Well, they were started in jail.
Started in jail, right? So now when you take that and say, okay, it started in jail for you to get it, you had to be a criminal to get a tattoo, right? Or you had to do something, so it could be placed in jail to get you a tattoo, to where you actually go out in the world. Well, now when you go out in the world try to get a job, they like, well, you just came from jail, because tattoos started from there.
Yeah.
So.
But what didn't like back in the days people had tattoos back in the days too,
What you mean? Give me like
I would say like warriors,
warriors,
fighters, I don't know. I've seen the movies, man. I don't
know. No. And I get what you're saying, because you'll see the girls now, they put like this little, I forgot what you call it. What's the little stuff they put on their hand? And it'd be like way up here, and it'd be like some religious, like beading they have. I know you see it. Yeah, it be on their hands, but it's not a tattoo though.
No, it's a henna tattoo. No, henna something like that.
Yeah, it's like a hands.
Yeah, it's
like a glove, man.
You can come. It can come off though.
It's like a tattoo, but you can wash it. You want it.
Washable.
And I think that's where like it's like a more of like a like I guess you could say warriors. They did like for like a tribe or religious type deal or whatever. It wasn't necessarily like a tattoo gun like it is now. You know, with the ink and all that stuff or whatever. It was more like they did other stuff with it.
Actually, the Japanese they do it with a stick.
Right.
So like instead of needle and all that, they do it with a stick.
Yeah, I see it like a stick and like a little hammer, and then just like.
I wanted to get tattoos.
Alright.
I wanted to, and one of my, my dream I would say was to get one like that, like old fashioned, like with a stick. But I would say like, no, that looks painful, man.
Hey, I never got one of those, bro. Probably the craziest tattoo I ever got was they use a coat hanger. You know how the aluminum ones that you can like bend. They put that in the tattoo gun because we didn't have any needles at the time, so we used that. And that was like probably the craziest thing I ever did to get a tattoo, bro.
That was painful, no?
It was. Bro.
It was painful, right?
It was painful. And it was on my ankle, so it hurt, bro.
Oh, God. I hear that where the skin is close to the bone, it hurts more.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yep.
So, yeah, no one for me,
man. So we talked about the tattoos. So now, have you ever thought about like removing any of the tattoos?
It did cross my mind one time, but I kind of just told myself no, because I feel like it's part of my testimony. I feel like people can see where God took me out of, and people can see that I used to get tattoos, but now that I came to Christ, tattoos ain't a desire I have anymore. And so, a lot of brothers and sisters from the church where I go, they have told me to get, try to get rid of them, but
really,
yeah, but I mean at the end, it doesn't affect me,
Right.
I kind of like them because I can show people, look, man, this guy really took me out of, man. He can really transform your life, and you just surrender to him.
And I don't wanna mess with nobody, not talk about the people at the church, but I would say they shouldn't. I don't feel like they have the right to say that,
Right.
Yeah. Because you go to church and God sees your heart, your soul.
Definitely.
He doesn't gonna see your skin.
Yeah.
Because you already like ask for forgiveness for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's their place to like judge you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like I told you the other day at work. This guy that works with me, the shorty I was telling you about.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Guatemala guy.
Andres, check the Facebook. Somebody said they can't check it on Facebook.
Yeah, make it public.
That's because the camera like this.
They said it's interrupted though.
Interrupt.
So yeah, they said you need to
check
it out.
phone. Yeah, so this guy, the Guatemalan guy, he asked me like, why you? Because I have long hair, trying to get my hair longer.
Okay.
So, why don't you like cut your hair when you get a haircut? Like, why would I? I mean, I like it.
Right.
Say, but when you go to church, I was like, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he goes to church too.
He even used the church, bro,
Yeah.
for the hair.
Well,
Okay,
like,
that's the first.
If you go to church, you have to look presentable.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, I know. I go like I put my best clothes, the best I have, or the ones I think I look good and
Right.
on,
Right.
So I said like, guys gonna see my hair, ain't gonna see my clothes and my hair,
Right.
And like I would say, when I wasn't going to the Catholic church, like I said, I want to talk about nobody. I would say the ladies would dress like they went to a nightclub.
Right.
No, the guys would dress like they went to a party or something. So I was like, but me, I'm going, presentable, I guess I would say, trying to guys wanna know what's outside.
Yeah. I feel you. Yeah, man.
So and yeah, he was telling me, no, it's because they told me at church this and that. So he said he used to shake his head.
Oh, okay.
He used to shake his head and they told him that he shouldn't do that because he looked like a gambling or something like that. Well, that's your decision, man. You want to listen to them instead of, like, listen to God or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, because he's like really into church.
Right.
And when he came at me like that, like, don't you go to church? Or, like, okay.
Yeah. I think that is. I like that topic, bro, because I remember there was a time where I would get, I guess you could say, not really criticized, but I would get, how do you say it? Like, kind of confront me, like, the way I was.
Scrutinize.
Yeah, kind of, like, come up to me and be like, hey, you know, you should try to wear different clothes, you know, try to tell me what I should wear, you know, and the way I dress, and at first I remember I tried it, you know, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go with smaller clothes, and I'm gonna try to do the button ups and the, you know, tighter jeans, you know what I'm saying, but
Cornelius stuff?
yeah, no, I'm not talking about my brother Cornelius, you know, but
Y'all funny.
I've been messing with his I've been messing with him.
man, he be looking fresh.
No, he does.
You know, and I remember I tried it, man, but I just felt like it wasn't me.
You.
It wasn't me, bro. So I was just like, you know what? And God knows my heart, man. He knows that I really love him, and I really want to get closer to him. And you know, I felt like even the way I was dressing was affecting my relationship with God. You know, so I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna let people tell me what I should wear and what I should not wear. You know, you know, sometimes I just wear a black tee and a black fitted hat. You know. Levi's and some Jordans, and man, God looks at your heart, you know. He doesn't look at the outside. And yes, God does do the change from inside without, you know. So with the time, God will probably show you, look, this is what you should wear, this is what you should not wear, you know. Because my clothes did get smaller, you know, because I used to wear like big old tall tees and big old size 50 Dickies, you know.
No, but you dress the way, like, you feel comfortable. It's like letting you know who you really are, you know, like, not trying to, like, be somebody else,
be somebody on that,
Like myself, sometimes I come, like, cowboy boots.
Yeah.
Sometimes I come with my sandals.
Right.
You know, I feel good on my sandals.
But you love them cowboy boots.
I love my cowboy boots, man. Actually, for my birthday, I'm trying to get some, how you call it, the Mantarraya ones, you know which ones?
Oh, no.
No? Oh.
I thought you were going to say the three
no,
with the big old...
You know the Chewbacca ones? They're pointy, man, like the point is over here.
Man, you know Samuel want those. Yep, it was somebody the day of the Vigilia.
Really?
Yeah, after everything, when we left like 5 or 6 o'clock or whatever, we was back here talking, and he want to get a big, huge belt buckle. He want to get a big 10-gallon hat. He want to get the
10-gallon hat.
Yeah, 10-gallon hat.
Oh, wow.
With the shoehorn. Yeah, he said he wanted to do it. Yep. And I was like, man, you know, Jose, he like, you know, the cowboy look too. Because I remember we was in Walmart that day, and you saw that guy walking by. You was like, man, I want to dress like that one day.
Oh, that guy.
And I was like, yeah, I remember.
Like, you must say Hispanic guy, but really like Hispanic, you know, like how they dress on the Sundays, you know.
Had a nice big shirt on, had the hat, had the jeans.
Yeah, but that time I was just messing with you, man. I didn't want to dress like that.
Oh, you didn't want to dress like that? Oh, I took it serious. I mean, I was like, man, Jose want to dress like that.
I mean, I want to dress like a cowboy, but not like
that.
Not like way, you know, too cowboy. Yeah.
Got you.
No, but he look good, man. You know, Hispanics sometimes put their cowboy boots, they jeans, you know. He look good. His hat and everything, sombrero, you know. Yeah, but I'm getting my boots, man. I'm getting my boots.
Got you, man.
Yeah, but like I said, man, like sometimes I come with my cowboy boots. I come with my sandals. Sometimes I come with my how you call it, the dressing pants and whatnot.
Right.
Yeah, just how I am, man. I'm trying to impress nobody.
Yeah, man. That's it, bro. And I think you know, I like not to glorify myself, bro, but you know, people can see that. You know, you don't have to be somebody specific to go to church, you know.
Right.
You know, something that I like that Jesus said, bro, that said, he used to tell people, come as who you are. You know, come as who you are. And that's the thing that people don't understand, you know, like, just come as who you are, man. Whatever past you have, however you dress, just come as who you are. Because he loves you, right?
Right.
But he loves you so much that he won't leave you as who you are, you know what I'm saying? He will start changing you. So from there, you know, he starts changing, you know, the way you even dress, you know, but in a way where you know, you can be yourself, but still glorify God, you know,
Amen.
but in a presentable way that does glorify Him, you know, because I'm not, you know, back then I used to always wear shirts with like sugar skulls and, you know, like Dia de los Muertos type style, skulls, pot leaf, you know, like a whole bunch of sin on my shirt.
Right.
You know, I'm not gonna go to church like that,
Right.
or even wear it now,
Oh,
you know,
actually,
even outside the church.
Actually, I was like you, man.
Yeah.
I was into rock. You know, I love rock. I was Slipknot, you know,
Right.
all that. And I would go to, there's a store in the mall, Hot Topic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I would like get my shirts from there, you know.
Right.
Yeah, and the skulls and everything, you know.
And I remember when I started going to church, bro, that's how I started, bro. Wearing like shirts like that with skulls, pot leaves, and
yeah.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, that was me too, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes I remember I got mad because I went to a mall and I was my mom and my stepdad, and I went to Hot Topic, and my stepdad, he didn't let me buy a shirt that I wanted. So man, I got super mad. I remember, you know. But right now you see the shirt, and I don't know, I don't feel the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not. You're not.
Right now, if I have my superhero shirt, I'm fine with that, man. I'm happy with that.
Right. So I know we left off as far as the gains and the tattoos, though.
Right.
So now, kind of catch us up as far as you're 16 now. From 16 to when you converted over, kind of give us that testimony as far as when God actually, you know, came and shook you and actually said, you know, you actually He has a purpose for you.
Right.
And you actually accepted that word, and you're all where you are today.
Well, I mean, since I was 16, that's when I had dropped out of school, and then that's when I had left my mom's house, and so I was kind of like, I remember my wife, you know, we was dating at the time around that age, and we kind of like left both our parents' houses, and we went to go get an apartment with two friends of ours.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, since 16, we kind of been like out there on our own.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, yeah, man, just, you know, during that time, it was just like really just partying, you know, getting high, drunk, and doing all kinds of drugs, and just getting in trouble, you know, in and out of jail. And, you know, that was probably my life until like about 18, until 19, I'm sorry. That's when I had my first boy, my first son. You know, and when I had my first son, I still kept doing the same thing. You know, I was working, but just living that high life, you know, that party life, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And until I was about 21, I want to say, is when I had my second boy, and that's really where, you know, I felt like God started calling me. You know, and it was crazy how I got presented to God, you know, into the church, and because at the time I have a cousin that he was going through something very spiritually strong, where he was demon possessed, you know, and you know, at that time, I remember my mom was the first one that got saved. At that time, I was about 20, 21. She started congregating herself to the church where we go now, and she was probably a couple of months in, you know, and then we started figuring out what was going on with my cousin, you know, and then when my uncles told my mom about it, she invited them to the church, you know, and my mom had told, you know, the pastors, the leaders from the church what was going on with my cousin. So, you know, they told her to invite them to the church, you know, we wanted to meet them and meet my cousin. And I remember at the time when my cousin was going through all that, you know, I didn't take it seriously, you know, I didn't take the whole spiritual life seriously, bro. I took it as a joke, you know, and I kind of just saw it as a game and kind of pictured it the way you see it in scary movies, you know, like exorcisms and stuff. And I remember at the time I used to like kind of like make fun of my cousin, like, hey man, don't go to the church, bro, because they're gonna do exorcism on you, you know, they're gonna tie you down, you know, just making the joke out of it, you know, Cause I was young, I didn't know the whole, really that there really is a spiritual life, you know, and there's really are demons, and there's really a God that can cast those demons out, you know. But at the time, you know, I remember it was the same time my stepdad got saved as well, you know. And so him and my mom were helping my cousin, you know, to try to get him to go to church, to get closer to God, you know, and my uncle.
You said he was possessed, though.
Yeah, he was demon possessed, bro. And my cousin went through very strong, bro. You know, it was a point where, you know, they were talking to him and telling him to kill his family, to kill himself, and it was crazy, man. The stories he would tell me, that the things he would see at night, bro, it's crazy, man. Like, really, literally stuff like you see in the scary movies, that's stuff he was living, you know. And I got to even witness some of it, you know, when I was around him. And I remember at the time was like, while he was going through all that, you know, I was just, you know, at the same time, my parents would try to tell me to go to church and they'll talk to me about God, but I never really wanted to hear all that. You know, it was crazy how, like, I never wanted to do anything with God. You know, I always believed there was a God, but I always felt like church wasn't for me, you know, and I felt like, you know, it just wasn't for me. So, you know, when my cousin got, you know, with the time my cousin did get healed, you know, by the glory of God, you know, they were able to cast those demons out, you know, and I remember at the time when he was going through all that, I was with him, like, throughout the whole process, you know, and at the time, you know, my way of helping him was to keep him high, keep him drinking, you know, keep his mind off of what he was going through, right? So, you know, after he got saved and he got healed, you know, he wanted to get closer to God, but I feel like I just didn't want a part of it at the time. But then after that, I think about a year, we kind of went our ways, you know, and then, you know, I started doing my own thing. I started working in construction, and that's kind of where my walk with Christ started, because I went through some, well, let's see. Let me back up a little bit.
Okay. Hold on a second. Why? Glad you stopped, because IG Live stopped. Hey, you start the live back up.
The Facebook one?
What happened to Facebook?
That's the phone that died.
Oh, the phone died?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, people. I didn't know it died.
Are we still on?
Yeah, check the
Instagram is cool.
No, it's not.
Oh, because
You know what? Let me start the Facebook on my phone,
All right, go ahead.
and I'll use it later on. It's my first button. Let me see. Give us a little second, Jose.
No, you good, bro.
we back.
We back.
Like Terminator.
You put on there type in the comment, put episode 6, and then put our first guest, Jose.
Here, Andres. Your cameraman needs some glasses, man.
Like this?
Without guest, Jose?
Yeah.
No, wait.
O-U-R.
Can you delete that?
Use the Facebook. What is it?
Live.
Huh?
Ya lo tienes en live.
Yeah, aquí está.
You guys know?
You're making our guys work, man. Come on.
Nah, you good, man. Yeah, man, we here to serve.
Can you delete that one?
No.
You don't know. You should be able to hold it. Yeah, you should be able to hold it. And
Rewrite it?
yeah.
Okay, man.
This one is burning up high.
Okay, what? Let me go here real quick. My stomach making noises, man. I'm hungry.
It's about that time.
I'm hungry, man.
Alright, okay, man. Oh, Andres. Jesus. Bro, your phone can't be that important. Bro.
Fuego, brother.
I'm
Fuego.
for real, like you stuck on
You
that.
gotta get in the fuego, brother.
Man, Andres. You're working right now, Andres. You're working. Let me share this video real quick. Come on, get back, get back, get back. Oh my lord.
Alright,
Okay, so we're back.
we back.
Okay, so yeah, what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So you said you wanted to back up a little bit from that story.
Yeah, because basically, I was talking about how my cousin was demons possessed and he got healed and saved, you know, through our Lord Jesus, you know. And I remember after he went through that process, you know, I still didn't take it seriously and didn't really still wanted to, you know, get to know God, you know, after I saw how the miracle God did in his life, you know, and I saw the change he was doing in my parents at first, you know, so I just kept still doing me, you know, living in the world, living and, you know, doing what I wanted to do, and, you know, and I think about, that was about when I was like 19, bro, you know, through all that had happened, and, you know, and I remember, I think a couple of years before that even happened, you know, I had got arrested, you know, and I got charged for some graffiti, gang-related charge is what I got charged with, graffiti, and it was gang-related. So when I got arrested, they were trying to sentence me to 5 years, you know.
For graffiti?
Yeah.
Have you ever been arrested before?
That was my first time when I got arrested, you know, and when I got arrested there, you know, my wife got scared because we were dating at the time. We was living together already, you know, and when she heard about them trying to sentence me 5 years, she got scared, and so she told her dad about it, you know. And at the time, my father-in-law used to worship this saint they used to call, what they call La Santa Muerte, you know, and my father-in-law told my wife about her and told her, you know, that, you know, to ask her the La Santa Muerte.
What's that mean?
La Santa Muerte, it means the death saint, basically. It's
The death saint.
They worship the dead.
yeah, it's very, very popular in the Hispanic culture.
But it's getting popular. Because back in the day, it wasn't that popular.
It wasn't, nah. But now it's like,
Like probably a couple years ago, it started getting like really popular.
yeah.
But I would say, and I would say that it's because of a lot of television.
Right.
A lot of Hispanics watch the novelas, right?
Right.
The soap operas.
Mm-hmm.
And all those Novela's gone with that, worshiping the
idol.
dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say that has a lot to do with this.
Right.
That's why.
You know, and I remember when my wife got introduced to worshiping that idol, you know, she asked her for, basically the way they do that works is that you ask her for something and you basically she'll do it for you and you gotta give her something return.
Yeah.
You know, and if you don't, then they say that she can take a close one from you or something that you love or somebody that you love, you know, and she'll come back with revenge, right? But, you know, yeah, I'm gonna get off a little off topic, but because I want to address that, it was that, you know, even with that idol, you know, how the enemy disguises himself behind these saints and these statues, because, you know, how he blinds people because, you know, yeah, the enemy, he himself can do these miracles where, you know, where he'll do what you ask for, and, you know, you think it's the idol doing it, but it's really the devil himself hiding behind those statues, those saints, right? So that's how a lot of people are deceived and believe that, you know, these saints are really true, you know, and they can really do these miracles, but it's really the devil hides himself behind these idols, you know, so people can be deceived, you know, and not turn to God, you know what I'm saying? But that's kind of, so basically from there, you know, she asked basically this idol, this statue to set me free, you know? And yeah, basically, I was out within a week. They let me go. They actually got a lawyer for me, and the lawyer was able to fight my case, and they let me out with like 2 years of probation and like 200-some hours of community service and stuff. And
you serving in jail time?
I was only there for like a week. Yeah,
a week.
Yeah,
okay.
I was only for a week. So I got out, you know, but still kept doing my thing. You know, within a year, when my mom and my stepdad got saved, they started telling my wife about that statue, you know, to get rid of it. But, you know, and they would basically explain to her, you know, what was behind all that. You know, it's demonic, it's witchcraft, you know, all that you're bringing into your life to my son, because my son was born already. And my wife was like, yeah, you know, I want to get rid of it, but she was scared, you know, because she has heard what it could do, supposedly, right? And so my mom was like, you know what, I'll get it, I'll take it, I'll get rid of it for you, you know. And she got rid of it for her, and it was crazy, man, what happened when when she grabbed the statue was about probably this big, bro. We had. And she took it out of our room, and she went outside and she burned it. She burned it, man. She started praying over it. She started applying the blood of Christ, you know, rebuking all that demonic stuff. And she said while she was praying, bro, all of a sudden, like this big old, first it was a big old group of mosquitoes. Mosquitoes just came out of nowhere, like literally, like, you know how you kind of see in the movie?
Yeah.
That's what she saw, a big old group of mosquitoes just like, kind of like going around her in the air, you know, and she just kept rebuking it and kept applying the blood of Christ until it went away, you know, and then all of a sudden after they went away, this big old wind just came out of nowhere and just, like a strong wind, like it was a storm, but it was a sunny day outside, it just poof. And while she was praying, she said there was like a big old table, probably about this big. But you know those metal ones, like them heavy ones, them outside door tables. She said it flipped it over, man. It flipped it over, you know, and it was crazy. All the chairs went flying, like literally what you see in the movie, bro. You know, but she said like the fear wanted to kick in, but she just kept praying, you know. She just kept praying until it just went away, man. You know, and after that happened, we started seeing some, you know, kind of like some paranormal activity in our house with my son. My son was probably a couple months old, and I remember we used to keep him in this little bouncy bed where he'll sleep in. And I remember we used to I don't know if you ever saw like they're like these little towels, man, where you can wrap your kids with.
Yeah.
And they have like a little strap for they won't, you know, I guess like open up. And we used to always tie him up with those, and then we'll tie him up to the little bouncy bed.
Mm-hmm.
And in the middle of the night, bro, all of a sudden, like, my wife woke up, and she sees my son, like, in the middle of the floor. Out of his bouncy house, after he was strapped in, you know, it looked like somebody was dragging him. Like, literally, somebody dragged him out of his little bouncy bed, you know what I'm saying? And that's when my wife really got scared, you know, when that happened. And so that's when she started going to the church and wanted. That's where her walk with Christ started. You know, she was like, no. She got scared, so she, you know, she ran to God. You know, but you know, even after that, I still didn't believe. You know, and still didn't take it seriously. I was just very hard-headed and still wanted to keep living my way. You know, and I think, you know, I was about 20. Yeah, I was about 20 years old, where my son was about a year already, a little over a year. He got very sick one night. It was for like a couple of months. He had very high fever. And you know, and one night, like, I remember he started like shaking really bad while it was in the middle of the night. It was like 3 in the morning, and he started shaking really bad. And then I remember my wife was like, you know what, I'm gonna take him a bath, a cold bath, because that's what they say helps, you know, the fever go down, right? So while she was taking him a bath, you know, he started shaking even more, you know, and his eyes even rolled back, and it looked like he was having a seizure, you know. And we got scared, bro. So first thing we did, we just picked him up and we ran to the hospital, you know. I remember that night my wife was driving and I was just carrying my son. And the whole way there, man, you know, I didn't know how to pray. You know, never really prayed ever. And I was just crying to God, like, God, please, you know, just don't take my son. You know, I'll stop drinking, I'll stop smoking, I'll stop doing everything. Just don't take my son, you know. And the whole way there, man, and, you know, we live in Marietta over there we live off of Windy Hill. And we drove all the way to Kennestone, you know, so it's probably like a 15, 20-minute drive. And the whole way there, man, my son wouldn't wake up. He just, like, his eyes rolled back. I felt like I was losing him, you know. And so the whole way there, we get there, and as soon as we walk in the emergency room, you know, I'm like yelling, hey man, somebody help me, my son needs help. So they told me to go to the kids section, the kids area, right? Yeah. Which is a little in the back. As soon as we get there, you know, they put us in a room. I lay him on the bed. And as soon as I lay him on the bed, he wakes up like nothing, you know, like, and the nurse checked him and he didn't even have a fever, you know, and the nurse was like, what was wrong with him? And I'm over here like speechless. I don't even know what to say to him. Like, man, he just had a seizure. His fever was like off the charts, you know, but he was fine as soon as I put him on that bed. Wow. You know? So that's kind of where it started with me, you know, walking with Christ, you know, and I remember after that, I remember just like one night, you know, I think it was in that same week, you know, my wife kept telling me, like, you know what, you gotta get closer to God, you know, you gotta let your past go, and I was just like, man, I want to, but I don't know how, you know, I just know I've been doing this since a youngster, you know, since like 13, 12 years old. And I remember my wife was just like, just cry out to him, you know. And I remember one night I just got on my knees, man, and just cried out to God, like, God, you know, they tell me you can help me change, you know, and I believe it, but, you know, help me, because I don't know how to change, you know. And then, you know, and I just started praying, asking God, like, God, may just remove everybody from my life that it's not a blessing for me and my family, you know. And I remember after that night, I did those prayers. Like everybody after that, all my homies, my cousins, everybody just went ghost on me, bro. Like literally, like nobody would call me no more. Like, and I was so shocked, you know, cause like everybody would call me every day, especially on the weekends, you know. And I was just like, kind of in shock, you know. But then I started realizing, like, yo, God really heard my prayer, you know. I'm like, so I was like, well, nobody's calling me, so I'm not gonna call nobody either, you know. So And then, you know, during that time, I started just going to church more, going to the services. You know, they had Bible studies. I was there, you know, and just trying to always be in church, you know, because it would help me to keep my mind on Christ, you know what I'm saying? Because when I will, you know, go somewhere else where it wasn't Christ related, that's where, you know, the enemy would creep in, you know what I'm saying? And I'll start thinking about sinful things and trying to go back to my old ways. But I would just be basically in the church, bro, all the time, and surround myself with the brothers and the sisters from the church. And that's how it all started, you know, little by little.
Amazing testimony, man. I love it, man. Yeah.
Glory to God, bro.
I guess I would say like God sometimes takes you to a point where there's like the only way out is Him, you know, like,
yeah.
like nothing else is gonna work but Him.
Right.
Now what I went through that, almost through that.
I know.
And when, like I said before, like, are you sleepy, man?
I'm a little sleepy, man. But go ahead, man.
Take a chug, bro.
Go ahead,
Bring
man.
some more cups,
Nah,
man.
man.
Fuego. Yeah, that I told you the other day, you know, when my wife went to labor, the doctor said that my little daughter was gonna born like bad, you know, like, cause she was born premature.
Oh, okay.
But they said that something was gonna be bad with her.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But and my wife, she was calm, she was alright, because she knew, you know, the God that she praised.
Amen.
But me, I mean, I accepted Christ back then, but I was like you know, I wasn't taking serious.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say like sometimes He put you to that position where the only way out is Him.
Amen.
Yeah, so
Only out she got is to look
yeah,
up,
so I started asking Him, you know, like, please don't let my daughter be born with a defect or something.
Right, man.
Yeah, you can see her, man. She be running around, jumping around, dancing and everything, man.
Amen. Glory to God.
Yeah, glory to God, man.
So when did you accept the calling as far as the youth leader?
The youth leader? I want to say, oh man, I was probably 2 years in walking with the Lord, you know, and it was, I wasn't like really, well, let's say, like, it's not like, you know, my pastors or my leaders were like, hey, you're gonna work with this ministry, you know. It was kind of because, you know, I would see the way our church was that they didn't have a youth ministry, you know. And I was seeing, you know, talking to the youth, you know, a lot of them, you know, were just in the world, you know, in the church,
Like the world.
you know, called Christians, but they were in the world,
Yeah.
you know. And I started seeing, like, how could this be possible, you know? But then I was like, man, and I feel like God just kept putting that in my heart, to work with them. I want to work with them. I want to show them, you know, to really have a relationship with Christ, you know. So I just had that passion, that desire, that burden in my heart for like about a year, bro. And I remember one of my leaders, and I consider him as my spiritual father, where he used to always tell me, like, you know, he's like, man, I see you and your wife one day working with the youth. You guys should work with them, you know. You guys should start a youth group and all that, you know. And, you know, so it was probably about a year. I was just kind of like doubting myself, really, you know. Kind of like, no, I'm not ready, you know. And I just like, you know what? we talked to our pastors about it, and they were all in. They were like, yeah, man, I think you guys are you know, should do it, you know. And they gave us the green light, you know, and all the pastors, the leaders, they prayed for us, they anointed us, and, you know, and ever since then, you know, yeah, we did that step in faith, you know, like, not, you know, we don't know the whole Bible from Genesis to Revelation, but, you know, we do know what the Lord has done in our lives, and we do believe what we read, you know, and we see how God keeps moving, and, you know, we just trusted Him, you know, and you know, making doing that step in faith did build our faith, because in our relationship with the Lord, because we started seeking more and more, and submitting ourselves more to God and to the Spirit. So, and just letting the Spirit guide us, you know, and we see how the Holy Spirit just flows, man.
Mm-hmm.
It moves. It's beautiful, man.
Gotta go back to the tattoos, man. Gotta go back. To
Okay.
Yeah.
What did your mama say when you got your first tattoo?
My mom?
Yeah, I gotta say, Hispanic moms,
They go crazy.
they go
bro.
crazy to get a
Tattoos,
tattoo,
bro.
man.
Yeah, the tattoo. Oh man, I remember, cause I remember since I was a teenager, I used to tell my mom, "Hey, I'm gonna get a tattoo. I want a tattoo." My mom used to always be like, "Man, boy, if you get first tattoo you ever get, I'm gonna cut it off myself." You know, she used some other bad language, but I'm not gonna say all that. But she's like, "I'm gonna cut that tattoo off myself, right?" And I remember, I was like 15, bro. I remember I had left my house, because me and my stepdad had got into it, you know, so I just left, and I remember I just disappeared on my parents for like, I want to say about a couple months, like 2-3 months, bro. They didn't know where I was at, they didn't know anything about me, I just disappeared on them, and then all of a sudden I came back, you know, with tattoos, you know what I'm saying, and she was just like, she didn't say anything, bro. She didn't say nothing to me. She was just like happy that I was back, you know, and she just accepted it, you know. But as I kept getting older, I kept getting more tattoos, and she just like, she was just looking at me and just shake her head. Like, but then when she found, when she got saved, that's when she really started getting on me. She was like, "Nah, you don't know what you're doing, you know, you're making pacts with the devil, you know." And then she'll see the sugar skulls, all the skulls I get tatted on myself, and she would just be like, she would just get on me, bro. But at the end, it came to a point where she wouldn't say nothing, and she would just keep praying for me, bro, praying for me, and my stepdad started praying for me, and my wife, and bro, you know, I didn't even know they had the whole church praying for me, bro, and fasting, and man, that's how just God did His thing, bro. You know?
Alright.
Yeah.
So how many tattoos you got total?
Oh, in total, I got about 15, I think.
15?
15.
Yeah, I wanted to get a full sleeve.
Oh yeah, yeah, I did too, bro. I was gonna get probably
Yeah,
both sleeves.
These the guy, my foreman, that I
Uh-huh.
told you about before. He does tattoos.
Oh, he does tattoo?
Yeah, before I got married, he was gonna do the full sleeve.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Why'd you look at me like that, man?
I didn't say anything, man.
Why you look at me weird, man?
I didn't look at you weird. I actually looked at Jose and then came back and looked at you.
You sleepy?
Now, I am sleepy, but I didn't look at you no kind of way, man. But no,
What's up?
fuego,
Man. Come on. Yeah, man. I'm a big fan of anime. You know, fan of anime.
Anime,
Yeah, so I was gonna get me full sleeve on anime characters.
mm.
You know, the first one was gonna be Dragon Ball Z, man. I was gonna put the Batman logo right here, big one, in the middle of everything. Was gonna be my Batman logo. Yeah,
Okay.
but then I didn't do it.
Well, man, brother.
Man, right? Yeah, I didn't do it, man. That was actually before I got married.
Really?
Yeah, because even if I wanted to do it now, I cannot do it.
Right.
You know, when I beat up. You know, my wife's probably gonna chop it over and screw it over with some soap and razor or something. Never know, man. You know. But yeah, bruh.
What about you, bro? You never wanted a tattoo?
I think I had a friend that tried to convince me to get a tattoo because he had one,
Okay.
and I actually went up to the tattoo shop, and the guy showed me like a book of, you know, little things, you know, to, you know, little images. He was like, you know, what kind of English, you know, do you want old English? Do you want this type of font? You know, all this type of fonts he wanted to see, because it was just my initial.
Right.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Man, he was like, you know, you can look at what type of initial you want. So I was looking, and I showed him. I was like, yeah, I want this one right here. He was like, all right, let me go to the back and finish this one up real quick.
Mm.
And I was sitting down on the couch, waiting, and someone just told me just get up. Yeah.
Okay.
Someone told me to get up, and I was probably, I'm telling you, like age-wise, probably like.
What was the Holy Spirit, man?
I had just got back to Anderson, so I told you I did half and half in high school, so I think this was probably like right when I was going to the 11th grade. I was like 16 at this time.
Okay.
And yeah, someone just told me to get up. I got up, walked right out. I never got a tattoo. Yeah, I was just like, this is not me.
Yeah.
It's not me at all.
Okay.
It was like, why are you doing this? And it was just like, let me get up and leave. I didn't say nothing to nobody. I just got up, left. They didn't say anything. Got in my car and I left, man. And yeah, you know, and I never looked back from that. I never wanted a tattoo. I never was like a guy that kind of followed everybody. I guess you could say. I was never really a person that just says, hey, you know, peer pressure type, you know, do this. You know what I'm saying? And I just do it. I was like, that's not me. You know, like I told you, if it don't make sense to me, I don't do it. And I never did it. And ever since then, beforehand, I never wanted to do it until he put it out there, because he had a D with a crown on it, or whatever, the top. He showed it to me, and then I was going to do the same exact thing. But then I was like, you don't mimic people, you don't copy people, you know, why would you do that? Exactly. And like I said, he told me just leave. And I left, man. I left out of there. I don't even think my mom even knows that. You know, yeah, my mom doesn't even know, like, you know, I went to a tattoo shop and actually looked at tattoos and was, you know, thinking about doing it, just because my friend at the time was just trying to tell me, hey, you need to get that because, you know, you look naked, you know what I'm saying, without one or something like that, you know. You got to have some type of ink on you. And I think now, his dad is a pastor. Yep. His dad is a pastor. His mom is the first lady or whatever. So the thing about it is that I think I don't know, because I haven't spoke to him in a while, but I think now he probably regrets it. That he even got the tattoo. You know, and he went and got others as well too when he went on like little trips. But I think now, you know what I'm saying, and not even just because his dad's a pastor, I just think that now he's actually led by the Holy Spirit, because he was a part of the world at that time. Is that now he's probably looking at it like, you know what, this is not me, you know what I'm saying, I just did this because when I was asking you, I was just young. I was young and dumb when I made that decision. So now, you know what, I really don't even want to do this, because it doesn't represent nothing. You know your initial. And now you're saying you got a crown on top of your initial. What does it represent? Nothing. That's it. That's all it represents. It's an initial with a crown on it. It's a D with a crown on it. Nothing. It doesn't have no type of, some say like yours may have like sentimental value towards you. You know, I think I saw an actual portrait on your forearm. So it may have some type of sentiment because it's like your son. Right? So I can understand, you know, you got some sentimental value on that there, but there's nothing sentimental about that. You know, he can just, if it went away today, I don't think he would care about it. And that's just me just knowing him.
Okay.
So.
Man.
D with a crown.
Yeah, D with a crown on it. And I was going to get a C with a crown. I was going to do the exact same thing just because he asked me to do it. Yep.
I hate you, man.
Why you like Cornelius with a C with a crown?
Just it's going to be a C with a crown. Yep. In Old English.
It would have been their best friend tattoo.
That was it. Then I would have regretted it all the rest of my life. Because the thing about it is that it's something that he questions me to this day. You know, and like I said, I haven't talked to him in years, but back in the 3rd grade, well, I would say beforehand, because his mom used to watch us. His mom was a babysitter. She had her own daycare at the house. And this may be a little off topic, but just something that just came to my mind was that we were going to elementary school together, right? And like I said, this was my best friend at the time. You know, he was my, like, anywhere we went, you know, anytime you seen us, it was me and him together. You know what I'm saying? We was best friends, like, tight. And kindergarten, 1st grade or whatever. So we was always trying to get the same class.
Okay.
And his mom, of course, knew my mom because she was watching us.
Right.
And they were like, man, if they put them two together, oh my goodness, this is gonna be something. Because we were very outgoing. Like me and him, like my brother was a little bit more shy than us. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, he was more of like the nerd, like you were saying. He was more like in the books and stuff like that. Me and him was more in the sports, going out and just doing crazy stuff. So we wanted to be in the same class. So kindergarten come, and what we would do is like they would post the schedule. Like you would go up to the school, and on a certain day you would go up and they'll post a whole list and tell you like who's in homeroom and all this or whatever, right? And tell you your classes.
Like
so
the beginning of the school year?
This is like before that. This is like during like the summer. But it's like close. It's like real close to the school year. But it's like during the summertime, so you're still out of school. And your parents will go up there. They'll take you up there, and then they'll get you to look. And you're like, "Where your name at?" And then you'll tell you like what homeroom you going to. So we looking, and I was like, "Man, I ain't got it this year. You know, we in this homeroom all over here." And then all the way we get to the 3rd grade, we finally see each other on the same homeroom. We're in the same class. Well, the thing about it is that something happened between us personally. It's a testimony I end up bringing out eventually. But basically we had to leave, right? And we left. And the thing about it is that he get to the homeroom, and while he was in homeroom, the lady's going through the roll call. She's going through the roll call, asking like who's here, and just say here. While she's going through the roll call, she says my name one time, and he's looking for me. Right, and then he said he was telling me this too. He said he had a snack for me while he was waiting on me. He was like, "Man, I got a snack for him. Where is he at?" And she calls me again, and he's still looking around, and called me like 3rd time. I was like, "He's not here or whatever." And it's unlike for me not to be there. I always had perfect attendance in school. Okay. So she called me again, and nothing. And he just put his head down, and that was it. You know, like I said, it was like the end of our friendship. Oh, really? Yeah, that was like the end of our friendship for like years. Like until from 3rd grade all the way till the 11th grade is when I finally seen him again. Why though? I left, but we moved. Oh yeah, moved. Yeah, we left. You know, we left for personal reasons. But like I said, that's a whole other testimony. Right. But we left for personal reasons. So when we moved or whatever, we were gone. Didn't have no communication. You know what I'm saying? All the way through those years or whatever. Oh wow. So when we finally had met each other again, this is actually when I met him again. We actually ended up working together. Oh, that's how we ended up meeting together or whatever, and we got back cool again. But then, like I said, he was still, you know, me and him were both still part of the world or whatever. So he was like into tattoos. He was into, you know, clubs, drinking and all that or whatever. He was smoking at a time or whatever. So, you know, and that was something I never was really into or whatever. But I still was like wanting that, you know what I'm saying, that time that we missed from 3rd grade because we wanted to always have the same classes together. So then I was trying to just make up for that time. But then it ended up separating us again. It's like God just split us away again. To where he ended up getting married. He got married and he was just like, well, you single, I'm married, I can't hang with you no more. That's exactly what he told me. He was like, yeah. He was like, you single, you know, and I can't hang with you. So he started hanging with people that were married. And that's what he do to this day. You know, he's like, I mean, right now we really don't ever really talk, but he's, you know, he deals with the same people. When he cut me off, he dealt with those same people. And then now, you know, I'm here in Georgia married with my wife. So it is what it is. But that was just something I wanted to share as far as kind of like, I guess, a little bit of my background. And then as far as like tattoos and stuff. And things like I said, I would never like, I don't really get affected by peer pressure. You know what I'm saying? And I remember one time I did get affected by it, where I did something that's a whole nother testimony too. So a lot of things that y'all don't know about me, you'll be like, what in the world? You did that? And I'll be like, yeah, I was about that life. But like I said, I'll share it another day. I'll share it another day and I'll share it soon with you guys. You know what I'm saying? Just continue, you know, we continue having this, continue fellowship and whatever like that. And I'll start disclosing more things about some of the things I went through as far as peer pressure and things I did in my life and the reason why we had to move, stuff like that. You know, I feel like there's a time and place for it. So I definitely, you know, share it with you guys. But I just want to share that little bit though. But I mean, So, as far as for you, so now, you in Christ, you accepted Jesus Christ into your life, you know, you're married now. You have how many kids now?
2 boys.
You got 2 boys now. So now, taking it now to where you're at in your life now, you know, you have your business and everything. I can't really say like what is next for you, but I would say, what do you think your purpose is now, as far as you accepting Jesus Christ? What is that purpose you think He has for you? I don't know if He's confirmed it with you or not. I know it's between you and you and Him. But now, like, what do you think He's calling you to do now, as far as everything that you've been through now?
Okay.
And now you're a youth leader in this church. What do you think your calling? What do you think that purpose is? Because He still has you here. He still has you living. I mean, you're breathing and everything as well too. So there's still a purpose there. I always say that to somebody, is that whether they're Catholic, atheist, or whatever, you're on this world for a reason. And the thing about it is that He spares your life. He still has mercy in your life because you're still here. No matter what you believe in, He still has you here. So that you just haven't accepted that calling just yet.
Amen.
So I say for you, what do you think your calling is, and what is your purpose as far as in the ministry or in the church?
My purpose, well, you know, how the word says, you know, we're all called to preach the gospel,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to heal the sick, cast out demons, you know, I think we're all called to do that.
Amen.
And keep that relationship, that intimacy with God. And, you know, as a calling, you know, I've had people, you know, that God gave them this message to me and my wife that, you know, that we're called to be pastors, you know.
Wow.
And so, and I believe it, you know, I believe it because if it was from, the message was from God, so I believe it, you know, and I receive it, you know, and I feel like I believe it more because, you know, me and my wife, we have that love, you know, to help people, you know, and to show people that, you know, God can really change your life, you know, God really does love you.
That's
you
right.
know, it doesn't matter what your past is, you know, it doesn't matter
Yep.
who you are at the moment, but, you know, God really does have a purpose for your life, how you were saying, you know, and you know, and we seen how, you know, we've been able to just be used by God, you know, to speak life to people, you know, and to show them the way of God, and I'm just looking forward, you know, what God has in store for us.
Amen.
You know?
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. I like that, man. I like that.
Yep.
And I pray, you know what I'm saying, that
Yeah.
God does continue to use you,
Yeah.
like I know He will, and that, you know, when you do, you know, accept that calling, you know, that He gives you the strength, you know, to continue on with that calling, as far as being a pastor for you and your wife,
Right.
you know, because I know the thing about it is that the devil's will try to come and attack that, try to cause confusion with that as well too.
Definitely.
But you know, with the hands of God, you know what I'm saying, over you guys, I know He's gonna rebuke the devil from that.
Right.
You know, and continue to get you to continue to lead you guys to the promised land.
Amen.
And you know, accept that calling, you know, from the heart,
Mhm.
from the inside, as opposed to flesh. So I
Amen.
pray for you, man, for you and your wife, you know what I'm saying,
Amen.
to do that, because that's
For
one of
sure.
the things me and my wife,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, have had a calling on as well too.
Amen.
You know, to accept. And I always try to tell people too is that, you know, don't get so comfortable in church, you know what I'm saying, to where you think this is it for you.
Yeah.
So if you're sitting there, you know, you feel like you're a seat filler,
Right.
he got a bigger calling for you,
Oh yeah.
you know what I'm saying, from that. So don't think that, you know what I'm saying, just because you worship now, you know, this is it for you. Just because, you know what I'm saying, you're a youth leader now, this is it. You're a marriage leader, usher, deacon, whatever. It's always a bigger calling, you know what I'm saying, from that. Because the thing about it is that God is probably calling you to do something, and you're sitting in the seats.
Right.
But the thing about it is this, He's probably calling you to move you up from somewhere to where someone else can come in here and get that seat.
Right.
And if you don't accept that calling, you still holding up somebody's seat that's ready to come in.
Gotcha.
Right?
Amen.
And you holding that seat up for somebody because He has a purpose for them as well too.
Right.
Right? So I was telling another lady this the other day, because I asked her, I was like, Because I said, what's your job title at church? And she was just like, what do you mean, my job title?
Okay.
I said, let me ask you this then. What is your job title at work? She said, she was a manager. She was like, I'm an assistant store manager. I said, okay. So now, take that. You have a title.
Right.
What's your title at church?
Okay.
And she was just like, I'm a worshiper. I said, okay. I said, where do you worship at? She was like, in church. I said, where in church? She said, from the seat. I said, okay. I said, now, the thing about it is this. Have you ever wanted to go up to the front? Have you ever had that fire to where you wanted to go up to the front and sing in front of everybody and worship in front of, you know what I'm saying, in front of everybody? And she was like, yeah. You like, my pastor actually told me, you know what I'm saying, that, you know.
To do it?
Yeah, to do that.
Okay.
I said, how come you haven't accepted that calling yet? Why are you holding somebody's seat up?
Right.
And she didn't, and man, when it opened up so her eyes, whatever, it was like she dropped the phone or something. I don't know what it was. But like, man, like, I'm telling you, like, everything just opened up for her when I said that.
Right.
And she was like, I never looked at it like that. You know, I never have. And I said, sometimes it just takes a little push. Sometimes it just takes a word from God just to, you know, to kind of remind you that don't get so complacent, you know what I'm saying, but just sitting in your seat all the time. And because the thing about it is that when times are hard and the devil's really attacking you or whatever and trying to cause that confusion in your mind, there's going to be a time where you come in and you be like, you know what, I'm tired of worshiping. To where you may, instead of sitting in the front, you sit in the middle. From the middle, you sit in the back. And when you get to the back, you're closer to the door. And even from the door, you already out. To where now, that calling when you got from the front was fire because you were sitting in the front. And now all you had to do was take one step and you right there in front of the altar. But now, these attacks come because it was an attack that did come to her. And, you know, I prayed, I told her, you know, let God lead the situation or whatever, because this is not it for, it may seem like it's it, but it's not it. It's not. It's a way bigger calling than what he has, whatever. The devil just attacked and they let, you know, they let him overpower at that time. But like I said, just continue praying for that person. And that's a whole nother situation as well too. So that's why I said, man, I pray that, you know, that we accept our callings. Yeah, man. That we accept our callings, because like I told y'all at the bonfire, you know that everyone has a purpose at church. So just know that, you know what I'm saying, when you get that calling, God, thank you for this calling or whatever. And I'm prepared. I'm gonna continue seeking you. I'm gonna continue giving my all to you. And you know, you take that calling, you bring that fire, fuego. You continue to let him lead you in your lead.
Fuego.
Lead, man.
Fuego.
And y'all know what's crazy though? Is that, man, I was just over here nodding off. But now,
you awake?
Man, what? I got it here. I got it here, man. After just saying that, I had to say a little, I guess I had to say a little something, but right now I'm up. I'm up now.
No, but I like what you said, man, that we all have a calling, bro, because it's even in scripture how it says that as children of God, we will be judged because we are called to do, you know, something in this world. But the only way that we're going to receive that calling is by seeking God. You know, letting God transform us. You know, but at the end, when our time comes to an end here on earth, you know, and when Judgment Day comes, as children of God, we will be judged for what we did on earth. You know, and
exactly what Josue said.
You know, and how you were saying that some of us are just still in that seat, you know, and have been in that seat for years. And, you know what I'm saying? And it's just making that step in faith, you know, and being a open vessel for God to use you. You know, that's it. And it's just trusting in Him, because, you know, that's how I started with the youth group. I always felt like, nah, I'm not prepared yet, you know, and I feel like that's how you're always going to be, you know, like,
exactly.
I'm not ready yet, you know, but it's not by your wisdom or your strength, it's by the Spirit of God that will guide you, you know.
Exactly.
You know, so, and I think that that's what it takes, is just making that step in faith, and you'll see how God will use you, man.
Amen.
And it's beautiful.
Amen. Jose, what you got, man?
Me? You gotta sleep.
No, I'm saying like, you know, you closing
Yeah,
out,
yeah,
man.
no, yeah, I know what you're saying. I'm just trying to make it. No, you know, I like to joke a lot.
Nah, I got you, man. I got you.
Oh,
I mean,
but yeah, like we're saying, you know, we all need a push, you know, because we're always doubting ourselves.
right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but always, God always has a plan. Always.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And I will go back to what your idea, man.
Mm-hmm.
You maybe that's God's plan with you, you know.
Right.
We're using these, you know, to reach people, to reach souls
Yeah.
that they don't know God yet.
Yeah.
So
Definitely, man.
so that's your idea, man. You just need that push, you know, and
Yeah.
and if we're that push, we're here, man.
Amen.
Yeah, we're here to help you, man.
Amen.
Like I said, this are just like an idea, just like I thought, you know, and
Right.
look at us now.
Amen.
We have a couple views on YouTube, you know.
Yep. Yep.
Man.
That's a couple souls that we reach already,
Yeah.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know.
Amen.
So yeah, man. Like I say, that's it. You need a push. We're here, man. We're here.
Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
But yeah,
Appreciate that.
All right.
never doubt it, man.
That's
Never
right.
doubt. Like I said, like last week, last week, because we're already Saturday now.
Right.
So this whole week was like, you know, was I would say it was a trial or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was a test. Yeah.
And that's the thing with walking with
Pretty
God,
good.
man. That we're gonna keep having trials,
Yeah.
man. As we keep walking and we keep growing, and it's crazy how the enemy, he knows exactly where to hit us, you know,
Mhm.
to discourage us. But you know, that's where our faith has to step in, you know, and just trust in God, you know, and be patient and just wait on Him, man. But you know, as I believe it was the other day I was reading, I believe in Corinthians, you know, that, you know, no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and we can't imagine, but what good is in store for those who love Him, you know? And, you know, so basically it's like, you know, if we keep our eyes on God and we keep loving Him and we keep just seeking Him, man, we're gonna see what God has in store for us in the future, you know?
Yeah.
But it's just at the moment, you know, how the word says every trial, every tribulation is to build our character, build our faith, you know, and build the foundation, you know, that we're on. But, amen.
Yeah, we're closing out, man.
Want to close it out? So, Jose, you got any closing words for the people out there today, man?
Yeah, man. Before we close, I know one of the topic was the tattoo thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I do want to share this because you know, after I came to Christ, tattoos was still something in my mind that I still wanted to keep doing.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like a little battle in my mind for a while where I was, you know, hearing other brothers, you know, hearing testimonies and them speaking about how it's okay to have tattoos, you know, as long as it's about scripture or if it's God, you know. If it's about God, you know, it's okay, you know. And I remember that brought confusion in my mind, like, okay, I think it is okay to get tattoos, so I'm going to keep going with it, right? And I remember I just kept praying and asking God, like, God, is this really okay, you know, to keep getting tattoos? Because I see other people saying we can, you know, but other people tell me I can't. But I have read in scripture where it says don't tattoo your body.
Mm-hmm.
And then I read where it talks about how we're the temples of God, our bodies are the temple
Right.
of God, you know, and how it says give your bodies as a living sacrifice to God. You know, so it was kind of like a battle in my mind where should I keep doing it, should I not, you know, until I got confirmation when I heard this one brother say this, was where he was saying like, okay, so how, you know, how we're the temples of God,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we're like the church of God, a walking, talking church, you know, you're not gonna, and picture your church where you congregate yourself. You're not going to tag up the walls with graffiti and
Mm-hmm.
skulls and flowers and birds, whatever, you know. You know, it's the same thing. You know,
Right.
we're the temples of God. So why would you do that to your own body if you wouldn't do it to a church? You know what I'm saying? So when I heard that, I was like, that's a good point of view, you know. That's like confirmation, you know, because I kept praying about it. And I remember I had this discussion with this other brother he was like, man, I'm gonna get a tattoo. I'm gonna get a scripture on me and this, da da da. And I was like, bro, you know, I'm not gonna go against what you're saying. You know, if that's what you feel is okay, then go ahead, brother. But I do just suggest this to pray on it, bro. Let the Spirit guide you. You know, and may the Spirit bring confirmation to you. You know, if it's okay or not. You know, because I got confirmation about it.
Amen.
And I think that's something that's big in the Christianity, where there's a lot of brothers and sisters that are still getting tattooed. You know,
Right.
And there's tattoo artists that are Christians.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's,
that's
you
true,
know,
man.
at the end, you know, everybody has their point of view, but it's the Spirit that does the conviction, you know, and they'll show you what's right and what's not, you know.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
It's there. It's right there. I mean, I feel like a lot of people, even myself too, you know, we need to seek the Word more.
Amen.
You know, for us to really live the righteous life, we have to necessarily seek more.
Mm-hmm.
We have to seek the Word. You know, if there's anything that we want confirmation on, we can just seek.
Yup.
Seek and you will find.
Amen.
You know, and that's it. That's right from the Scripture. So,
Yup.
I just want to put that out for everybody. You know, for us to do that. And like I said, for myself too, because I need to practice what I preach as well too, is that I want to continue seeking the Word even more.
Amen.
You know, and not have it like any type of barriers as far as when I do read or when I do seek. You know, like, oh, I'm just going to give it 30 minutes, you know, and I'm out of here, you know, I'm not going to read anymore, or, you know, not putting a limit on it. You know, I'm going to just do it until, you know, until God tell me, you know what I'm saying, hey, you know, finish up or whatever, you know, or if something happens, you know, if I have to go to work or something like that, you know, I just want to put a limit on it just in my mind, just saying, hey, this is how much attention I'm going to give to the Word.
Right.
You know, I want it just to be an unquenching thirst.
Yeah.
You know, to where I just continue seeking, continue reading more.
That
And if
hunger.
I have to put it down because I'm tired or sleepy or whatever, may I sleep and get right back up and I'm back at the Word again.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Just a thirst of just wanting more.
That desire.
Let me share this. I said read more the Bible,
Mhm.
right? Read more the Word, and I have a problem with reading like books that also have pictures.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Okay.
I have a big problem with that, man.
Right.
If I find a book that has pictures, it's more interesting than one that doesn't have pictures.
So but what's the problem? Why is there a problem with the book without a picture?
No, I don't know, man. I just find it like sometimes I find it like interesting because I want to see it, right? Hold on, let me go over there. Let me go.
Alright.
Okay, so if there's somebody that has problems like that, you know, I mean, with the Bible, I don't have a problem, right? I don't have a problem. But I
Mhm.
mean, other books that don't have pictures, I'm like being like, you know, I don't feel it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's I have this comic. This is a Bible. It's in a comic book. Okay.
Okay, I seen that.
It's the Bible, but it's in a comic.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
seen
So if there's somebody over there that doesn't want to read the Bible because it doesn't have pictures on that,
Mhm.
they can get that. You know,
Yeah.
I will bring it. I will bring it next time.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but it's in the form of comic.
Yeah.
It's a thick book. It's like.
I seen that.
Yeah. It's
I
big.
bought that for my brother
Yeah.
for his birthday. Both my brothers, my younger brothers.
Yeah, I had that one, yeah. And I'm trying to get it. There's another two. There's chapter 1, chapter 2, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get that. But yeah, I want to bring it aside so I can show it to people. Like, if they're having the same point, they want to read the Bible because it doesn't have pictures, you know. So
Yeah.
there's a Bible, but it's a comic. It has the pictures and everything. But it says the same thing as the Bible.
Yeah.
Mm.
Can I share something related to that, bro?
Yeah, man.
I had the same struggle when I first came to Christ that I couldn't read the Bible, bro. Like literally, it was crazy how I'll be wide awake and I'll sit down and 95 minutes in the Bible, I'm falling asleep, you know. And then, you know, it came to a point where like I kept asking God and God to help me to be able to be able to read the Bible, you know, because, you know, I knew the only way to get closer to God was until I get into that scripture,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I started realizing that that's the only way your relationship will grow with God, and your spiritual growth will will grow is when you finally get into that scripture, you know. But not just read it, you know, but read it and meditate on it and then apply it to your life, you know. And then that's when your relationship will really start to grow, you know, is when you get into that scripture, you know. Because, and that's something that in Christianity, in the faith, where a lot of brothers and sisters been walking with God for years or been on this path, but don't read the scripture, you know, and they always ask, why am I still, you know, why I haven't, you know, seen my calling, or why not haven't grown, or they're in that same spot, you know. It's because they're not in the scripture, bro, you know, and the scripture is our guidance, you know, to walk with God, you know. It's what, you know, it's a reminder, you know, who he is, you know, what he did for us, you know. It's like our key to our salvation. It's the Bible, you know, and that's you know, and that's how, you know, if we're not reading that scripture, bro, our spiritual growth will never grow. Our relationship with God will not, it won't stand, bro, because your relationship with God, it's just, if you're not reading the word, it's so easy, it's so hard to keep your eyes on God, you know what I'm saying? It's one of the tools that he left for us.
Here's the thing though, when I'm there's times when I would like grab that Bible, the complete Bible. It's like I cannot stop reading. I can't. I keep going and going and going.
The common one?
Yeah.
Amen, brother.
I just keep going. I cannot stop reading, man. There's every time I grab it. I don't know, man. I don't feel like living it. Like you know. Yeah, it's.
I mean, I believe whatever works for you, brother. Because I remember when I first started, I would listen to it, you know, and just follow along, you know. And then I started reading, because I've came across where some people would criticize people the different versions of the Bible that they use, right? And I remember I would use the easy to read, the ERV, because it's so easy to read, bro. You know. And for me, I never liked reading, bro, but when I started using that version, it helped me so good, bro, to finally understand the word of God and to really understand it, bro. Because when you start understanding it, that's where it starts clicking in, right? So that's how I started off, but then from there I started moving up, you know, in the different versions. But that's why I always, you know, advise the youth that I work with that, you know, if it's hard for them, to start off there, you know, easy to read or comic book, or look it up on YouTube, whatever works for you. But as long as you're getting that scripture in, you know, to start getting it in, and then, you know, when it starts building up inside, you know, then you're gonna want to have that, you have that hunger, that desire to seek more, right? So, and then the wisdom, like, it grows kind of, you know, and then you can start reading different versions, and I don't know, you get more into it. Because if that makes sense, you know.
Yeah, and this that book is easy to find. I find it at Walmart. That's where I find it.
Right.
So it's easy to find. It's not like you had to go to a special store now. It's, But yeah, man, I think that's it for today.
Amen.
Any more closing words, Jose?
Man, I just want to, you know, anybody out there that's listening, you know, I just want to share that if you haven't accepted our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, you know, just to open your heart to Him, you know, it doesn't matter what you've been through, what you did yesterday, you know, the way you're thinking right now, you know, just know that He really does love you, you know, and He does has a purpose for you, and, you know, and that, you know, just how God transformed my life, He transformed these brothers, you know, He can do the same as for you, you know. All you gotta do is just surrender to Him, you know. Open your heart to Him and just tell Him to come in, you know, and He will come in, you know, and just, it's really just opening your heart to Him, you know, and just doing our part, you know, to try to seek Him. But I just want to share that, man, God really did change my life, and I know He can do it anyway.
Amen. Jose?
Me, like I say, God loves you, man.
Amen.
God loves everybody, man.
Amen.
Usually what I said at the end is what you said, man.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so yeah, that's.
I took your word,
amazing.
bro.
No, it's amazing, man. It's good. Yeah, man. You got something to say, Corn?
Close it out, man. So, first of all, I want to thank my brother Jose You know,
Definitely, man.
participating
Thank you so much.
today. You know, kicking us off with our first guest actually on the show, episode 6. I feel like it was a glorious show. I feel like it was a very powerful show too, man. I want to thank you for your testimonies and your upbringings and everything as well too. So I definitely want to commend you on having the courage to actually come up here and share that with us. I want to thank my brother Jose again, you know, the host of the show, you know, for putting all this together, coming up with the vision and actually going through it. You know, I feel like that was very, you know, as an I say a courageous move that you did as well too. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people have a vision or a dream, you know, but they never follow pursuit on that. You know, they don't have the faith, you know what I'm saying, to necessarily step out and actually pursue that dream that they have. So I want to thank you for allowing me to be a part of it as well too.
And there's a lot of doubt sometimes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my biggest fear when it came with the idea and say like I will do it, how I'm gonna do it. My biggest fear was my language. You know, English is my first language.
Mm-hmm.
So I always had like trouble with the accent and everything. So I was like, oh, why people ain't gonna understand what I'm saying? You know, so that was my biggest fear.
Right.
You know, we're here now, man. There's no backing out. We're here now.
Mm-hmm.
We're here. Yeah, we. Anything else, man?
So, so basically to close the show out, again, thank you guys, you know what I'm saying, for being a part of it. This is episode 6. This is the Glorious Podcast. I want everyone to have a blessed weekend, you know, have a glorious weekend. My brother Jose, and we out.
We out.
All right.